Today we will be removing the top half of the intake manifold on the Lexus 1UZ-FE first generation engine without removing the throttle body. Is it possible? Let's find out in today's episode. First I remove the kickdown cable. Yep, but this one is automatic. Then I go ahead and remove the throttle cable. This one seems to have been installed by an electrician. Ha ha ha. If you see droplets on the engine later on in this episode, it's not raining. That's me raining. Now I will be removing the oil-based air filter. Later on in this episode you will see why it is important to clean oil-based air filters regularly and why using the correct lubricants to keep it oiled is very important. Now I will remove the breathers, the one on the intake and the one under the throttle body. Then you will see me remove the throttle positioning sensor, also known as the TPS sensor. We always disconnect the vehicle battery and discharge the system before connecting and disconnecting any sensors. This way we eliminate a lot of calibration issues. These clamps are genius, aren't they? Now I will be removing the breather located on the back of the intake manifold that we will be removing in this episode. If you're stuck in between tight spaces like these, add the ring of an additional spanner to your current spanner to increase its leverage abilities. Nice. When refitting banjo bolts, always be sure to add new copper washers. If you don't, the banjo bolt could have leaks and cause inconsistent performance or braking pressure. You also don't want to lose this banjo or its old washer samples. Now that the loose ends are aside, it's time to finally start giving you what you came here for. I always try the small ratchet at first. If that didn't work, it gives me indication that the part one I'm trying to loosen may be stuck down with silicone. Can't get in. Just snap the kickdown cable bracket and move it aside. Nice. Now that they have all been snapped, we can go ahead and remove the intake manifold bolts and nuts by hand. I'm using the old air filter that we removed earlier in this episode as a container for my bolts and nuts. This way I know which bolts go with which project when our workshop is overwhelmed. Now our intake manifold is ready to be removed. Remember to disconnect the banjo underneath the intake and slide it out of the breather underneath the throttle body. Not budging, this is a clear indication that silicone has been used to keep this puppy sealed. This is also a very good indication that the previous mechanic reused the old gaskets. This is not recommended at all, because as soon as a steel gasket has been flattened for a seal, the chances are high that it'll leak when being reused. The purpose of the video was to show you how to remove the manifold along with removing as little as possible from your engine, but because I need a new leverage point, I will have to try and get in from different angles and try different techniques to get the silicone to loosen up without the use of any chemicals. Also stuck, eesh. I'm using a screwdriver as a leverage tool between the manifold and this breather sothat. I could get it off. In other cases I would use a cloth, but I am removing this manifold to do another episode on aluminium paint removal and a high gloss cut and polish with tools from your shed. So if I gave it a scratch or two, it would be polished out later in any ways. Now let's try a few different tools, angles and techniques to get this manifold off without any brute force or any harsh chemicals. Let's try something else. Let's see what kind of space we're working with. Now to bring out the big tools. Try and get it in nice and deep. As it comes loose, I get the same feeling I get when opening up my coffee tin in the morning. Get your 10mm spanner ready. Now just be gentle because this banjo underneath the intake is used to secure a fuel hose. Snap the banjo with your 10mm spanner and remove by hand. Be sure not to drop either of the two copper washers down the bottom half of the intake. The washer may go and lie on top of a valve, and this will force you to waste time looking for it with your endoscope. Noise. There you have it. It turns out it is possible to remove your 1UZ-FE non-vvti intake top section without having to remove the throttle body. These can go on pension now, they have worked hard enough. Tuck the banjo in somewhere snug. I hope this episode has served you well, and best of luck with your next project. Remember, if you are not qualified to work on your own vehicle and you need a garage to go to, come down to Veck's garage in Randhart, Alberton, Johannesburg.